Great. Welcome all the devotees for today's session on Srimad Bhagwatam. We'll start with melodious Kirtan Jai Radha Madhav by Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Radha Madhav Punya Bihari Jai Radha Madhav Punya Bihari Yashodanandana Vrajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopidana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vrajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Jai Mahatma Sabaribrajacharya Sakari Smala Tam Saraswati Goswami Bhagwati Jai Ananda Gori Vaishnava Jai Ramacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Jai Nain Sata Hosi Krishna Sri Radha Krishna Bhogavna Sam Kanda Radha Kanda Giri Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadip Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Dwarka Dham Ki Jai Swami Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai All glories to His name. All glories to His name. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Welcome to all devotees. Now we start today's Bhagavatam class with the melody with Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Mataji, your voice is not clear.
Welcome to all devotees. Now we start today's Bhagavatam class. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrutyam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tatajayam Udiret Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki. Hare Krishna Dandot Pranam. Now today we Srimad Bhagwatam Canto 11, chapter 16, the Lord's opulence. This new chapter we start, shloka number 1 to 11. Sri Uddhava Uvacha Tvam Brahma Paramam Sakshat Anadayantam Apavrutam Sarvesham Bhavanam Tranasiti Apaya Uddhava Atmabhi Upasate Tvam Bhagavan Yatha Tathena Brahmana. एषु एषु च भूतेषु भक्त्या त्वां परमऋषयः उपासीनः प्रपद्यन्ते संसिद्धिं तत् वदस्व मे गूढचरसि भूत आत्मा भूतानां भूतभावन न त्वां पश्यन्ति भूतानि पश्यन्तं मोहितानि ते यहाँ कहा च भूमौ दिवि वैरसायां विभूतय दिक्षु महाविभूते तहा मह्यम आख्याहि अनुभावितः ते नमामि ते तीर्थपद अंग्री पदम पदम श्री भगवान उवाच एवं एतत् अहं पृष्टः प्रश्नविदां वर युयुत्सुना विनशने सपत्नैः अर्जुनेन वै ज्ञात्वा ज्ञातिवदं गर्यम् अधर्मं राज्यहेतुकं ततः निवृत्तः हन्ता अहं हतः अयम् इति लौकिकः सह तदा पुरुषव्याघ्र युक्त्या मे प्रतिबोधितः अव्यभाषत् माम एवं यथा त्वं रणमूर्ध्नि अहम् आत्मा उद्धव अमीशा अपेयः अहं गतिमतां कालः कलयताम् अहं गुणानां च पियं साम्यं गुणीना अतिक गुणः गुणीनामपि अहं सूत्रमतां च महान् अहं सूक्ष्माणाम् अपि अहं जीवः दुर्जयानाम् अहं मनः. Translation and purport by the Srila Prabhupada, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Shri Uddhav said, my dear Lord, you are beginningless and endless, absolute truth himself, unlimited by anything else. You are the protector and life giver, the destruction and creation of all things that exist. My dear Lord, although it is difficult for the emphasis to understand that you are situated in all superior and inferior creation, those Brahmanas who are actual knower of the Vedic conclusion worship you in truth. Please tell me of the perfection that great sages achieve by worshipping you with devotion. Also, kindly explain which of your different forms they worship. Oh, my Lord, maintainer of all, although you are the super soul of the living entities, you remain hidden. Thus, being bewildered by you and the living entities cannot see you, although you are seeing them. O supremely potent Lord, please explain to me your innumerable potencies, which you manifest on the earth, in heaven, in hell, and indeed in all directions. I offer my humble obeisance at your lotus feet, which are the shelter of all holy places. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O best of those who know how to inquire on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Arjuna, desiring to fight with his rivals, asked me the same question that you are now posing. On the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Arjuna thought that killing his relatives would be an abominable, irreligious activity, motivated only by his desire to acquire kingdom. He therefore desisted from the battle, thinking I would be the killer of my relative, they would be destroyed. Thus, Arjuna was afflicted with mundane consciousness. At that time, I enlightened Arjuna, the tiger among men, with logical arguments, and thus, in the front of the battle, Arjuna addressed me with question in the same way that you are now inquiring. My dear Uddhava, I am the super soul of a living entity, and therefore I am naturally their well-wisher and supreme controller, being the creator, maintainer, and annihilator of all entities. I am not different from them. I am the ultimate goal of all those seeking progress, and I am time among those who exert control. I am equilibrium of the modes of material nature, and I am natural virtue among the pious. Among things possessing qualities, I am the primary manifestation of nature, and among great things, I am the total material creation. Among subtle things, I am the spirit soul, and of things that are difficult to conquer, I am the mind. Purport by the Srila Prabhupada. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Brahma means the greatest of all and the cause of everything. Uddhava here addresses the Lord as Paramam or Supreme Brahma, because in his feature as Bhagwan, the Lord is the highest feature of the absolute truth and the shelter of unlimited spiritual opulences. Unlike those of ordinary living entities, the Lord's opulences cannot be restricted by time, and thus the Lord is Anadi Antam, without beginning or end, and Apavrutam, unhindered by any superior or equal potency. The opulence of the material world is also resting within the Lord, who alone can protect, maintain, create, and destroy the material world. In this chapter, Sri Uddhava inquires from the Lord about his spiritual and material opulences in order to refine his appreciation of the Lord's position as the absolute truth. Even Lord Vishnu, the ultimate creator of the material world, is an expansion of Lord Krishna, and thus Sri Uddhava wishes to fully appreciate the unique status of his personal friend. Brahma. Next, the behavior of saintly person is also to be taken as evidence, and therefore it is here stated that although ignorant, impious persons are bewildered before the Lord's all-pervading feature, those with purified, clear consciousness worship the Lord as He is. In this chapter, Sri Uddhava inquires about the Lord's opulences, and here the words Ucha Ucheshu Bhuteshu within superior and inferior creation clearly refer to the Lord's external opulences, those manifested in the material world. The saintly Brahmanas or Vaishnavas worship Lord Krishna within all things and yet recognize the variety in the Lord's creation. For example, in worshipping the deity, the devotees will select the nicest flowers, fruits, and ornaments for decorating the transcendental form of the Lord. Similarly, although the Lord is present in the heart of every conditioned soul, the devotees will give more attention to a conditioned soul interested in the message of Lord Krishna. Although the Lord is everywhere, the devotees make distinctions for the sake of the Lord's service between his presence in superior Ucha and inferior Aucheshu creations. Sri Uddhava here inquires about the spiritual opulences of the Lord, which consist primarily of his Vishnu Tattva expansions such as Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. By worshiping different plenary expansions of the Lord, one achieves particular perfection, and Sri Uddhava wants to know about this. The Lord exists as the super soul within everything. He also appears in various incarnations or sometimes empowers a devotee to act as an incarnation. All such forms of the Lord are unknown to the non-devotees. The bewildered conditioned souls think that the supreme enjoyer, Sri Krishna, is actually meant to be enjoyed by them for their sense gratification, praying to God for specific material benediction. and assuming God's creation to be their personal property. The non-devotees cannot understand the actual form of the Lord. They therefore remain foolish and bewildered. Within the universe, everything is subject to creation, maintenance, and destruction. And thus the super soul is the only actual controller in the real world. Unfortunately, when the super soul appears in various incarnations to clarify his position, ignorant persons think that the super soul is merely another creation of the modes of material nature. As stated in this verse, they cannot see that person who is actually seeing them and simply remain bewildered. Uddhava here inquires about the Lord's material and spiritual potencies as manifested within our living in human cities cannot appreciate the cultural or achievements of man. Similarly, foolish materialists cannot appreciate the mighty opulences of the personality of God, even those manifested within our universe. For the appreciation of ordinary human being, Uddhava requests the Lord to reveal exactly how and in what form they expand his potency. And thus any mighty or opulent manifestation must ultimately rest on the Lord himself. Lord Krishna was pleased that his two friends Arjuna and Uddhava had posed the same question regarding the opulences of the personality of Godhead. Lord Krishna considered it wonderful that his two dear friends had asked exactly the same question. Lord Krishna here explains to Uddhava the circumstance in which Sri Arjuna posed his questions. Sridhar Swami points out that the personality of Godhead maintains an ablative and genitive relationship with his opulences. In other words, the Lord is not different from all living entities because they are coming from him and they belong to him. The Lord gave a similar explanation to Arjuna in the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita 10.20. आत्मा गुडाकेश सर्वभूताशय स्थित अहम आदि च मध्यम च भूतानाम अंत एव च. Beginning with the same word, atma, although the Lord describes his external and or material opulences, the Lord's position is always transcendental and non-material. Just as the living soul within the body gives life to the body, similarly the Lord by his supreme potency gives life to all universal opulences. Now, thus end the purpose. Now prayer. Om ज्ञानांजन शलाकया चक्षुर्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं. वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवान् च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजन सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितां च. नमो ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने. नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे. वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवो नमः. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद. हरे कृष्ण Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam. We start today new chapter, Srimad Bhagwatam, Canto 11, chapter 16, the Lord's opulences. In this chapter, Lord Sri Krishna described his manifested opulences in terms of specific potencies of knowledge, strength, influence, and others. And Uddhava glorifying to the Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality, and he told ultimate the shelter for the holy places is Krishna. He is told that the Supreme Lord has no beginning and no end. He is the cause of everyone's birth, maintenance, and destruction. He is the soul of all beings and secretly taking up residence with all living beings. Here they told about the Uddhava glorifying the Lord Krishna in two shlokas. Then hearing glorification from Uddhava, Lord Krishna answering, he asking question in last chapter, what is your manifestations and what protector, the Lord of mystic perfection, and how and we know how we do the devotional Supreme Lord outside everywhere. All this asking. According that, here Krishna giving answer of the Uddhava's question. Then Uddhava here inquires again about the Lord's material and spiritual potencies, which are spiritual and which are material potencies. Here they describe, and ahead one important point here, Sridhar Swami points out about the Supreme Lord, that he maintains an ablative and genitive relationship with its opulences, and describing the Lord, his external material opulences is always transcendental and non-material, just as the living soul within the body gives life to the body. Similarly, the Lord, by supreme potency, gives life to all opulences, like they describing. And ahead again they describe how they explain in the Bhagavad Gita 10.20, or in the that chapter, 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Like that, some explanations are coming ahead. We will saw tomorrow. Now, Vancha kalpatarubhya kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavyo namo namo. Prabhuji will tell you in nicely short. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So, after understanding the descriptions of mystic yoga, wherein Krishna establishes and refutes any other questions which may be there in anyone's mind, and proves that Bhakti Yoga is better than any other mystic opulence. And then now Krishna is starting to explain about his opulences, about his potencies in terms of knowledge, strength, influence, and so on. So Uddhava offers glorification to Lord Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead and as ultimate shelter of all holy places. And he says that, O Lord, you have no beginning, no end. You are the cause of the birth, maintenance, and destruction of all living entities. You are the soul of all living beings. And by secretly taking up residence within all living bodies, you are able to see everything. But we, the conditioned souls, on the other hand, are bewildered by Krishna's external energy and thus are unable to
see him. So such a perfect question and such a perfect prayer, which Lord Uddhava, Uddhava is talking about Krishna. And in fact, this is the ultimate truth, the absolute truth that we have been bereft of and which we have missed in understanding. So Uddhava is very rightly going ahead and explaining that because of your innumerable potencies, we are bewildered. So you would like to know what are those innumerable potencies which are manifesting on the earth, in heaven, in hell, and in fact in all directions. Because those potencies are the shelter of all holy places. So in response to that, Krishna starts explaining to Uddhava that of best of those who know how to inquire, on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Arjuna, desiring to fight with his rivals, had asked the same question. And there he gives the background that Arjuna did not want to kill his relatives, considering that it will be abominable, irreligious, and motivated by his selfish desire to acquire a kingdom. And so he was resisting from battle, thinking that he would be the killer of relatives. And thus he was afflicted with mundane consciousness. And Krishna explains that it is at that time that he enlightened Arjuna with logical arguments. And in front of the battle, Arjuna, in fact, addressed Krishna with questions which now Uddhava is repeating. And so now Krishna is giving the same knowledge again to Uddhava, which Krishna had given to Arjuna. And that is another reason this is also called as Uddhava Gita. So Krishna starts with how he is the super soul of all living entities, Paramatma. And he says that he is the well-wisher and the supreme controller. He is the creator, maintainer, annihilator. And most importantly, Krishna accepts that is not different from the living entities. So how is this possible? It is possible because we are part and parcels of Krishna. While Krishna is Vibhu, we are Anu. And hence, Krishna is the ultimate goal of all those seeking progress. Krishna is the time which exerts control. Krishna is the equilibrium of the Trigunas. And Krishna is the piousness or the virtue among those who are pious. Krishna explains further that among the things possessing qualities, Krishna is the primary manifestation of nature. Among great things, he is material creation. Among subtle things, Krishna is the soul. And among things which are difficult to conquer, Krishna is mind. See, Krishna again proves that it is mind control which is most important when he's talking about himself. Because he's saying, among things which are most difficult to control, he is the mind. And it is this mind which, because of being not controlled, is resulting in all our afflictions and attachments and our residence in this temporary world, which is Dukkhalaya. Let us see, Krishna says many more things which will be continuing further tomorrow onwards. Hare Krishna.